Belal Muhammad is out of his fight with SHAVKAT Rakhmonov at UFC 310 in December. Wow, interesting turn of events here. The man who was calling out Charles Oliveira not but over a year ago for injuring himself and pulling out of a fight has now officially pulled out of a fight. Now, it is quite the nasty injury, so for you who are a bit squeamish, don't watch the next couple of minutes of this video. I'll tell you right now. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Belal's injury. He has injured his toe, gotten a bone infection. Let's get right down to business, see what he has to say. Here's a video via Instagram. Doesn't want to be caught faking an injury, anything like that. All these guys want to go out there and make sure they prove that they've got some kind of injury, which I believe is unnecessary, but it is helpful in determining that this is a for real legitimate injury or sickness, whatever it may be. Think about Ian Gary last year pulling out of his fight with, who was it? Jeff Neal, pretending that he had pneumonia, whatever. That was obviously bullshit. We know it now. Here's Belal. He says, caught a bone infection in my foot, had to put a PICC line in my arm for IV antibiotics the next 6 weeks with no physical activity. That would put him completely out of a training camp, not to mention getting his foot fixed, whatever it is. Allah's plans is the best. I'm sorry to everyone that was looking forward to seeing me come back. I'll be back soon, inshallah. So, there's the video. He's at the hospital getting his foot worked on. Everybody's sending him good wishes, this, that, and the other. Here's his toe, blown up like a balloon, in the words of Conor McGregor. Man, that looks painful, I gotta be honest. I've had some like bruised toes, swollen toes, but nothing like that. That's nasty. Here he is at the hospital hanging out, foot's bandaged up. There we go, he's watching TV. Here it is all stitched up. They probably had to pull whatever was in there. You know, think of like pus or whatever's nasty that's in there, the infection area. Oof, that's rough looking. Like that looks like they just ripped that thing wide open, let all the liquid out. Belal, here's that PICC line in his arm, giving him antibiotics. I mean, he's not doing great at all. Hopefully, Belal gets better soon. We can get him back there in the cage. But it won't be at UFC 310 with SHAVKAT. So, like I said, here's that video. We'll play it just to remind you.
He's not fighting in Abu Dhabi.
Just a reminder. I think it's funny to go back. Belal talking about this. We'll play it real quick. This is from Belal just over a year ago.
Charles got what he wanted. He's not fighting in Abu Dhabi. As a fighter, you understand the game, right? The training is the hardest part. But the biggest fight of your life, the biggest rematch of your life, you get a cut 10 days before the fight in your eyebrow. Like, who are you training with, bro? I've been in the training room. I've seen it.
I find this funny because I like Belal. Like, he's kind of an endearing character. He's cringy, just kind of your normal, everyday, average guy, average Joe. He says this like, all right, Charles do Bronx, you got cut in training camp just before you were supposed to fight Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi. Who were you training with? What idiots let this happen to you? But then he goes on to tell a story about what happened when he was training with somebody else and they got a cut. Like, shit just happens, Belal. Like, shut your mouth, bro.
It happened, right? Anthony Pettis, before his fight with Dustin Poirier, 1 week before, he got split open. Eyebrow cut to the core, and I was like...
See what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter who you train with. Shit happens, man. Accidents happen. People move in weird ways. Things happen. Guys get cut open. If you've ever been in a gym, you know shit gets a little wild sometimes. Whether it's intentional or accidental, egos might be involved. It might just be pure coincidence, pure accident. One guy's moving this way and another guy moving that way.
Why did this happen a week before the fight? The world didn't know about it. Anthony got it surgically repaired, stitched up. It opened up in the fight, but he still went in there and fought. To me, Charles never wanted to go to Abu Dhabi. He never wanted to fight in enemy territory, as he said. He wanted it where he wanted it. Do I say he did it purposely? Who knows? But he chose not to fight.
All right, so like Liam says here, this aged like milk. Absolutely terrible take here from Belal, considering what's going on now. Oh, it's just a small toe injury. Now, to be fair, it's not just a small toe injury, but that's what people are going to say about it. That's why he had to prove all this stuff. So, SHAVKAT Rakhmonov responds in due process, posts, let me see if it's still up. It's no longer available, but he had an Instagram post sipping some tea or beer or something, and he said, to Belal's good health. I thought it was pretty funny. From SHAVKAT, a guy of very few words, being a little bit comedic online. So here's SHAVKAT's response on Twitter officially, wishing Belal a speedy recovery, a quick recovery. We'll meet when you're back at 100%. For now, I'm ready to take on any contender for the interim title at UFC 310. So, guess who's throwing their hat in the mix? SHAVKAT's former training partner, Ian Garry. If you've read between the lines and you know what's gone on the last couple of years there over at Killcliff, Sanford, whatever they want to call it now, they used to train together, and they used to train together a lot. And there were some stories getting out that somebody knocked somebody out in the welterweight division at Killcliff. Ian Garry has since left Killcliff shortly after these stories started coming out. Again, it's warrior code. It's the gym code that you don't speak about this stuff. It's the tough man's code. You don't speak about this stuff because it is embarrassing. It's training. Like I said before, shit happens. You don't need to go out there and broadcast that I knocked so-and-so out and this guy knocked me out, blah, blah. But he left the gym soon after all these stories started coming out. So the question is, who did it? And a lot of people, reading between the lines, we can go back and do the history check on all this. People suspected, so did I, that it sounded like SHAVKAT had knocked out Ian Garry in training at some point. Here's Ian Garry calling out SHAVKAT for a fight. This was his post just yesterday after Belal fell out of his fight.
There's some big names, there's some cool matchups. You know, there's SHAVKAT, 18-0, undefeated. I'd love to get my hands on him. I've trained with him. I have nothing but respect for the guy, but I want to be the first guy to take his own. I know I can do it. That fight excites me so much.
Ian Garry has not really been on a kill streak lately. He had a great couple of fights coming into the UFC, but recently has put out a couple of stinkers, some close decisions. Not really loving what I see from Ian Garry in terms of potential explosivity on the scene, but he wants to rip SHAVKAT apart, and we've seen SHAVKAT rip through some guys. So, I don't know, Ian. You're going to have to really show yourself here.
I've nothing but respect for the dude. It's purely out of, I don't want anyone else to beat him before me. He's 18-0, I'm 15-0. Let's go out there and put on a show and let's see who's really better. There's some big...
I would like to see that fight in fairness. So, good for Ian Garry for calling it out. Here he is posting on Instagram. He wants SHAVKAT. He wants him bad. Undefeated versus undefeated. Anytime, anywhere. Like he said, here we go. Here's the matchup. SHAVKAT, Ian Garry. That would be a fun one. I think so. Joaquin Buckley also throwing his name in the hat. This is what he said yesterday. Again, this is yesterday. Hey, look. I'm going to let you finish, but I've got something to say. Nobody wants to see that SHAVKAT Rakhmonov versus Ian Garry fight. People want to see knockouts. People want to see finishes. Direct shot at Ian Garry here. And that's exactly what we're fixing to bring. Me versus SHAVKAT. He's got 18 finishes, 10 subs, 8 knockouts. And your boy, yours truly, Joaquin Buckley, I've got 14 knockouts, and I've just knocked out my last 2 ranked opponents. Ian Garry, have you knocked out some ranked opponents? So what do you think? I'm fixing to do this, dude. UFC, this is the fight y'all have to make. Like I told you, I'm coming to take the throne, and I ain't playing. Boom, that's what Joaquin Buckley has to say. Since then, looks like they might not be going in the direction of Ian Garry or Joaquin Buckley. It looks like they're going in the direction of Buckley versus Ian Garry. Now we've got some heat brewing between the two. They're going to headline UFC Tampa, the last main event of the year. We were looking for a main event there. It was rumored to be Umar and Song Yadong. Then they said they were going to do that, and then they backtracked, and now we've got Ian Garry and Joaquin Buckley. Big time fight. We'll talk about that in another video. So, is it Colby Covington throwing his name back in the hat? We know he's very popular. Stunk it up in his fight with Leon Edwards not too long ago. That was not fun at all. Terrible fight. Embarrassing performance by Colby Covington, but he is a big, boisterous personality. It's right around the time when, Donald Trump's out there doing his thing with politics. Is it time to put Colby Covington back on the pedestal? I think Colby Covington's funny. I used to enjoy his fight style, just the Marab-like, take you down, let you up, take you down, let you up, beat you up on the feet, just outpace you. I really appreciated that from Colby Covington back in the day, but recently, his shtick's wearing off a little bit, and the style more than anything. I don't care about the shtick. It's the style, man. You just haven't been pulling up with the best fights, the best attitude anymore, Colby. If he's going to return to form, if he's going to be healthy in this one, whatever. I get what they're doing with the whole marketing scheme behind it, but I don't think this is going to happen. It looks like it'll be probably Kamaru Usman. There's Jack Della Maddalena out there, Leon Edwards. I don't know. Are they going to really leave UFC 310 without a main event? Because right now the main event, if it was not going to be SHAVKAT and Belal, is Kai Asakura and Alexandre Pantoja. The other option is the man himself, Alex Poatan. Yes, his response to Belal was a thing of beauty. He just posted a phone. Pick up the phone, ring me, UFC, call me, UFC. I'll be there to save the day. He's already saved UFC 300. He already saved UFC 303. He's already saved UFC 307 with some late notice fights. Will he do it again? Ankalaev just won last week at UFC 308. He responded to Alex Pereira with the same thing. Call me. Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev both seem extremely keen on being the replacement main event for UFC 310, despite both of them having fought earlier this month. This would be a huge matchup. Pereira said he's going through some things. I don't know if it's really going to happen. We'll see what happens, though. They've been calling on Pereira, and he seems to be the guy that's willing to step up and do it no matter what. Magomed, this morning, I say, spoke to my manager in the UFC. They need me. If they need me for December 7th, UFC 310, I'm all in. Let's go. We know that Ali Abdelaziz is his manager. Has Ali been getting into Magomed's social media, posting about it? Maybe so. That's been the speculation lately. So, again, just to recap, Alex Pereira, if this happens, and it's unlikely, I don't think it will happen because of what Alex is going through. They've already asked so much of him. I highly doubt they do it. I predict that they get another welterweight, maybe an interim shot or just a big main event. Like they'll do a bullshit BMF. Who knows? I'm not exactly sure. But Alex would have saved 4 fights, 4 big main events, 4 big pay-per-views by jumping in on late notice. Not only that, but he would have defended the title 4 times in 1 year against absolute killers, absolutely dangerous fighters. One of the biggest feats that I can remember in recent MMA history. So, yep, UFC 310's main event collapsing, but maybe we'll get Poatan. We shall see. I've seen some reports that say it is unlikely, but we'll see what happens. The UFC might throw a curveball in there. They might make it Nick Diaz versus Tony Ferguson for the BML for all I freaking know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Who should be the next title challenger for an interim belt with SHAVKAT, or should it be Poatan and Magomed in the main event? What do you guys want to see? There's a wide variety of options. Could be anything. They could pull something completely out of nowhere and replace it. Could be a women's fight. Who knows what's going to happen? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts and opinions on this, and I'll see you in the next one.